For almost 10 full years, American soldiers searched Middle Eastern countries for Osama bin Laden, leader of al-Qaeda, terrorist, and the man responsible for the lives lost on September 11, 2001. Finally, on May 1, 2011, our soldiers completed the mission of killing bin Laden under President Barack Obama's orders. President Obama's speech in response to the rhetorical situation following the death of Osama bin Laden was very effective in informing, uniting, comforting, and motivating American citizens. The purpose of my speech today is to discuss and analyze the components of rhetorical situations, including the audience, occasion, speaker, and speech, in order to further your understanding of why our president's speech was successful in achieving his goal in helping our country. One element Obama had to take into consideration before speaking was who would be listening to his speech. President Obama's audience for this particular speech was the entire nation, as well as many people from other countries around the world. The majority of Americans watched or listened to this speech intently with excitement and relief. The speech was directed towards all the people who witnessed, heard about, and suffered through the tragedies of September 11th. Therefore, the speech was not specifically for any gender, race, age, location, or other group, because so many and such a wide variety of people were affected. President Obama was speaking to both people who agreed and disagreed with him. His only intention was to inform, unify, and comfort those hurt by the attack 10 years prior. After the speech, the audience was able to feel united and justified due to the president's speaking methods. Along with the audience, President Obama had to take the occasion of his speech into consideration before speaking. The occasion of his speech was the death of Osama bin Laden in order to inform, unify, and comfort Americans who suffered on this man's behalf. President Obama describes the pain so many people suffered as a result of bin Laden's actions in his speech. He says, "And yet we know that the worst images are those that were unseen to the world. The empty seat at the dinner table, children who were forced to grow up without their mother or their father, parents who would never know the feeling of their child's embrace. Nearly 3,000 citizens taken from us, leaving a gaping hole in our hearts." With these words, Obama makes the audience see that he understands the pain they suffered because of the terrorist leader. Obama's speech was both ceremonial and deliberative. It was ceremonial because it focused on current events, but also deliberative because it mentions the events that could follow in the future. Obama says, for over 2 decades, bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country, our friends, and allies. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda. These words discuss our present achievements and give the country happiness and a sense of hope, comfort, and achievement. However, he also mentions the future and says, "Yet his death does not mark the end of our effort. There's no doubt that al-Qaeda will continue to pursue attacks against us. We must and we will remain vigilant at home and abroad." This warns the citizens watching and listening that more violence may and probably will come. However, he reminds the country of the importance of unity and confidence. For the occasion of this speech, Obama spoke wisely to his audience. Although the audience and occasion are important factors of a speech, the actual speaker is perhaps the most necessary element. Obama's speaking techniques, along with his comforting, heartfelt tone and reassuring delivery, make his speech much more effective. With his choice of delivery and style, he is able to better achieve his purpose of informing and comforting his audience. Guardian.co.uk reported the speech as dramatic, and the New York Times said, "The news electrified the world." Obama clearly did a good job delivering his message in a way that would achieve his purposes. Hand in hand with the delivery of his speech goes the actual speech itself. With President Obama's wise word choice and presentation strategy and format, his message was portrayed in an effective way for this audience, occasion, and purpose. Paul Argenti, professor of corporate communications at the Tuck School of Business, said, "When it came to telling the world that Osama bin Laden had finally been killed, President Obama faced a number of challenges. He had to put the killing in context, recalling the horrifying events of September 11, 2001. He had to be respectful to Islam. He had to tread lightly around Pakistan, which had been harboring bin Laden. And politically, he had to take credit for the assassination without making the speech all about him." President Obama accomplished all of these goals. Professor Argenti is very correct in saying this. President Obama's delivery was extremely appropriate for the speech, which helped achieve his purpose to the fullest extent possible. With President Obama's careful preparation and knowledge of the elements of an effective speech, he was successfully able to relay his message to his audience. By taking the elements of rhetorical situations into consideration, including the audience, occasion, speaker, and speech, President Obama's speech was effective in achieving his purpose of informing and comforting those affected by the events of September 11, 2011.